Do you ever wonder what's happening below the ice on a frozen lake? I know I do. On the surface, it looks like a complete desert wasteland out there, but down below, I can assure you there's a lot more going on than you would think. It's pretty crazy, the stuff you can find when you put a camera under the ice. In this video, we're going to do a couple different locations. We're going to be doing a spot right on shore here, just below the ice, in inches of water between the surface of the ice and the bottom of the lake, and you'd be surprised about how much life is swimming around down there. Then we're going to venture out into about 20 feet of water, into a rocky bottom where there's some creepy looking alien fish that you've probably never heard of before swimming around down there. Then we're going to go to some shallower water into a weedy jungle after the northern pike. And then we're also going to go into some sandy bottom. And then one of the last locations will be possibly a crime scene. Something that I found right at the end of the season. I actually found this location on the boat right before the lake froze up. I'll save it for the end of the video, but it's definitely one of the most interesting things or locations I've ever found, and a place that I look forward to filming again in the future. So stick around as we dive into our first spot. So the first location is here, right in the shores in front of my house. And what you're looking at is hundreds of emerald shiners swimming by. So these are commonly known as just bait, minnows, bait fish. This is the most common bait fish that people use for ice fishing around here. So it makes sense that there's an abundance of them swimming around in the lake. This is usually what you're gonna buy when you go to the bait shop and ask for some minnows to go ice fishing. These are what you're gonna get, and they're obviously clearly in abundance. It's really pretty crazy here. I'm gonna do a bit of time lapsing or some maybe fast forwarding of the footage here to show you how much the lake is actually moving. You can see the ice going up and down and up and down. Or what I think is really interesting is that the weather was really calm that day. There was no wind, so the wind wasn't pushing up and down on the ice, but you can definitely see the ice bouncing up and down slowly. It's happening so slow that you can't see it in real time, but when you scrub through the footage or when you fast forward through the footage, you can really see it, pulsing, and almost looks like the lake is breathing. So I think that's really fascinating. It's creating current when it happens. The lake is going up, pushing down, then there's current going one way to the next. So you can see the particles in the water going one way to the next. So I find that really interesting. So let me know in the comments if you know what that is. Our next spot, we venture out a bit further and we go into about 20 feet of water onto a rocky, really rocky bottom. And this is the type of structure you look for when you're fishing out here on Lake Simcoe for whitefish, lake trout. And the fish that we see here, this alien looking critter, is called a burbot. They are definitely a strange looking fish, almost resembles like an eel, and they're actually part of the cod family. They're one of the most delicious fish in the lake. They're most well known for their table fare, becoming really popular lately in the most recent years. They're a lot of fun to catch, and they've got some really cool color patterns on them. They bite hard, they fight good, an overall cool fish. It's really cool seeing them in their natural element. So our next spot, we're still in about 20 feet of water here, but now rather than a rocky bottom, we're in a sandy bottom, and there are hundreds of yellow perch. These are just relatively juvenile yellow perch. I do have some clips of some bigger ones. I'll put them in here. These are prolific spawners. There are millions of these things in our freshwater lakes in North America. One of the best table fares as well. Most popular eating fish there is. People come from all over the world to fill up their coolers with yellow perch. You'll see the smaller yellow perch are pretty bashful. They like to take little nibbles at things rather than just attack and bite and go crazy. Bigger perch definitely mean business, and they just come in and chomp down on your lure and will bite it head first. And it seems like the big ones are almost easier to catch when you're around more big ones. The small ones can really make you wonder what you got to do to get these things to put the hook in their mouth. Our next stop, we go into the Weedy jungle in about 10 feet of water on Lake Kootiching. Now the backstory to this day is, earlier that day I was filming for maybe an hour or two trying to get underwater footage of a pike, and I just could not get one. I could not see any coming through. I had no action, no fish coming through. But right before I gave up hope, I actually left the hut, and when I came back, I looked down the hole and there's a pike just sitting there waiting for me. So I casually put the camera back down, dropped my lure back down, but this pike was very inactive, kind of lethargic, and it was really interesting that, you know, I had to literally drop my hook with a minnow on it right in his face to get him to bite. And I'll put that clip in right here. Ooh, might be getting interested. This is crazy. Why aren't you biting? Do I dare? Try and drop it right on his head. One hole over. Here he comes. Here he comes. He got it. He got it. He got it. That was awesome. Oh yeah. Stay out of the camera. Stay out of the camera. Can you guys see? His tail up first. There he is. Grab him. Hey! Yeah, that was pretty cool. Not a big pike, but not bad. Pretty sweet on the underwater camera. Wow, we got him. We got him. Let's pull this camera up, get the release. I think I got something anyway. We've got some epic underwater footage of pike striking lures in the summertime. So this is where things get a little interesting. This is back on Lake Simcoe. We're in about 40 feet of water, and I discovered this right before the end of the boat season. So late fall, right before the lake froze up. So this footage was actually taken from a boat. It's not necessarily under the ice, but I just had to include it in this video because the footage is so cool. It's not very often that you just drop your camera onto a sunken ship. When I first found this, I thought maybe it was a crime scene, didn't know what to expect, and turns out it's actually a well-known wreck that a lot of people know of. It was really cool to see all these are smallmouth bass living on this boat wreck. Really cool to see them down there. Now these aren't the biggest bass Lake Simcoe have to offer. These were just literally about a school of like 2 to 3 pounders. And but there was quite a few of them. It was really cool to see. Well, that's pretty well all the underwater footage I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to drop the anchor on the subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.